Hello, everyone. How are you doing? And welcome. My name's Maria Spies. I'm the co-CEO of Holland IQ, and I'm very happy to have Sven Schutt here today. Sven is the CEO of the IU International University and the IU Group. Hi, Sven. How are you?
Nice to meet you, Maria. Thanks for having me here.
Welcome. This is going to be a really interesting session. Sven and the IU Group is a super interesting organisation, a university based out of Germany, but really all over the world. So I'm really looking forward to your presentation. So we're going to start off. Sven's going to give us a bit of a 15-minute presentation, 10 or 15 minutes, and then we're going to launch into discussion. So looking forward to it. Over to you, Sven.
Yeah, thanks again for having me, and I'm happy to present at this Holland IQ meeting. What I would like to cover is how partnership models can help to democratize education. And when we think of education, it's maybe the most defining experience for us as humans. And I guess, as all of us are aware, there is so much room to make it better together. And I would like to explore, on the one hand, the challenges, but also the opportunities that we experienced when we partnered within the higher education sector. Before coming to the potentials and possibilities, I'd like to start with the challenges. And I guess all of us are aware of more or less most and all of them. First of all, the very unequal access to education. And there are many aspects we can look at it, but in particular, given that we are here in Africa, maybe the most embarrassing example is when we look at the participation of higher education across the African continent of around 10% in comparison to, let's say, mature markets of 5 times higher rate, which is one of the very unequal ways to access education. At the same time, when we look from a corporate level, and many of you might face the same challenges as we do, we see this widening skills gap and what is also called the Great Resignation, so that companies really find challenges to find the right skills or the right skilled people to bring themselves forward. And maybe the third biggest challenge is the growing demand for tertiary education, in particular in those places, and Africa is maybe the foremost of those places where already access to education is low, and hence it is a particular big challenge to expand the higher education space. And when we look at it from the provider side, unfortunately, still many of the providers are rather focusing on elitist education and thereby, in the end, preventing some people from education. As you're all aware, the higher education system is tremendously fragmented, one of the most fragmented large sectors across the globe, with more than 90,000 universities and higher education players operating. And given this fragmentation, so on average, all of those players have roughly 2,500 students. Most players have very limited resources and digital capabilities to meet the growing demand for online education and all the opportunities that technology poses. And at the same time, strangely, most players still focus on kind of this traditional full service model of a university, providing all the services in-house rather than leveraging partnerships. And however, we also live in a world of many opportunities thanks to technology. And that is where we hope that our vision that everybody can access education to grow has become a much more realistic vision to achieve. However, we know and realize this, since we have this vision, it's not us going to make this happen alone. It's actually nobody making this happen alone. And the only opportunity that all of us have is making this vision to democratize education work by collaborating. And to this end, what we have done is kind of a 3-steps approach. So first of all, we as IU thought a lot about how can we really meet the demands of underserved target groups globally by tailoring our offers, leveraging technology towards these needs. Then we have built the largest EdTech platform delivering high quality university education at scale, to provide this as a solution across the globe as an open system. And that is where it comes thirdly, that we are building and leveraging global educational partnerships so that in the end everybody can access education to grow. And what I would like to do is to walk you through these various models, how we can partner. Rather do this as an inspiration. Obviously also, if anybody of you is interested, feel free to reach out to me in one of those partnerships. But to show in particular how these partnerships can be built in this complex educational space with all the challenges and hurdles that all partners face. And I will walk you through these 5 models. So I don't go into detail on this slide, but let me just add to it. Those are the models that we have explored successfully in the last couple of months and years, but there are tremendous many other ways one can make this happen. Hence, as I said, it is an inspiration. So starting with the first one, it's called the Study Access Alliance. It is a not-for-profit partnership initiative meant to increase free access to university education in Africa based on scholarships. And what do we do here? We partner with governments, public universities, NGOs, and other players who want to invest into free education. And as I already mentioned, the demand is huge. And the way we do this is that the partners find means to afford 1,000 euro scholarship for full bachelor and master degrees. And they can also do so by shaping this to a specific target group. We just kicked off a couple of pilots for the first 10,000 students. And one of the partners is focusing on tech university degrees for women in rural areas across Africa. But whatever, that makes sense in the specific setup and the mission of the respective partnership is an opportunity to delve into. And we, in this not-for-profit setup, leverage our capability to provide high quality education with our online capabilities, and thereby in the end provide these 1,000 euro degree opportunity. And as I mentioned, the first students have started with us. We think in the next couple of weeks or in month, the first 10,000 will start with us. And I think this is a great opportunity, again, to work together with partners to make education accessible, in particular for people who don't have the financial means to afford educations. The second partnership opportunity is what we call the IU Study Abroad Alliance. And it provides the opportunity, again, of affordable education for students who want to go abroad and study abroad. As you all know, there are millions every year who start their studies abroad. However, even a larger fraction of people who currently cannot afford it. And the model is very simple. The students start online with IU without having to cover the high tuition as well as cost of living with a broad study. And mid of their study, so bachelor roughly after 3 semesters, they move over to a partner university in key destination countries, the US, UK, and other parts of this world which are particularly attractive for international students, and there they continue their education with all the benefits that come from such a study abroad opportunity, including post-study work options, but also the experience in this country. And this in the end helps students to roughly save up to 50% of their cost of living and tuition, and still to get the full experience of a study abroad education. The third partnership model is what we call UAAS. You might not heard of it. It's, however, closely related to so-called SaaS systems, so software as service. It means in the end university as a service. And what we have built is a plug and play opportunity and capabilities so that we can help partners who are not a university to expand their offering into university education, be it bachelor or master degrees. And it's a turnkey solution that is possible to be set up in roughly a month time and without any fixed and setup costs. For instance, we have started a very recent collaboration with Singularity University. Some of you might have heard, although it's called university, it's not a degree entity, but they wanted to explore and expand their offering into the degree space, and they used our capabilities to do so. And thereby it is an opportunity for any player who currently is not an accredited university, but thinks they have a business model or market position that would add significantly if it is enhanced by this degree capability. The fourth partnership model is what we call Recruitment Partners. It is, again, leveraging our capabilities to deliver affordable online degrees. And there we partner with both non-university educational partners, edtech platforms, as well as universities, with the model that the partner can choose out of our portfolio which degrees they think is relevant to their target group. They promote this offering. They can enhance this offering by additional services, be it face-to-face elements, be it career service support or other things they think add value to the students. And then the students in the end study with IU in this combined delivery model, and thereby again we provide the opportunity for these edtech players or universities to expand their current portfolio into areas that currently haven't happened yet and haven't been able to deliver or expand into given resource constraints or other elements. And the very last model is targeted to help universities specifically to digitize, and there we leverage the well-known concept of dual degree. However, in the online space, so for online dual degrees where it is less used currently, and the idea there is that we help universities to expand their portfolio into future skill degree arenas if they don't cover it yet. For instance, things like AI, robotics, cybersecurity, data science, and any other forward-looking digital degree. And at the same time, expand their delivery format into online. And the way we do it is we establish together with the university a dual degree, given that what we have is easily transferred to virtually all other accreditation regimes, and the dual degree concept as well established in university partnerships. And thereby we see this as a very attractive and easy kind of, again, plug and play model for universities to leverage our capabilities, but still add their own capabilities wherever they are positioned. And we have just a very recent example how we did it with the London Institute of Bank and Finance. It's a London-based university that is focusing on the finance sector, but wanted to expand its portfolio into tech degrees, given that these tech capabilities are also very relevant in all industry, but hence also in finance. So this was kind of the tour de force through our 5 partnership models. And just as a summary, I would like to raise again this issue that the higher education space is so fragmented with these 90,000 higher education institutions with on average less than 2,500 students per institution. And only by partnering, we believe we and everybody else in this space can really increase value add to students and lower hurdles to education on a truly global scale. And I hope this inspired you a bit to consider partnerships, to consider them in a way that you are aware of kind of all your capabilities as well as the challenges that everybody of us faces, and you make sure that not everything needs to be done by yourself, but there are many partners out there who are willing and interested to help, and there is so much more to be gained by partnering with each other. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sven. That was really interesting. Usually there are so many different partnership models out there, and sometimes it's hard to codify those things. So it's really neat to see your 5 sort of. I know that you've been working on that for some time. It just didn't sort of appear out of nowhere. You've been refining it. I've got a couple of questions. Sort of first up about, firstly about the Africa market, and also then around partnerships themselves. So for the Africa market, are you partnering with other universities or with other institutions? They don't have to be universities. I'm just interested in the types of partners that are interested and the types of models they're interested in of those 5.
No, thanks for asking. Actually, both, and it depends a bit on the partnership model. The last one that I just mentioned, kind of this dual degree, is also targeted at African universities specifically, so it can also enhance the capability of African universities with what we have, and at the same time, the recruitment partnerships, we already have a couple of recruitment partnerships. They're, again, both with universities, actually also some in Africa already, but also non-university education players in Africa and other parts of the world. And the first one that is more specifically targeting governments, NGO players, but also public universities. So it is relatively broad what we do, and we realize when you think about the, in particular, the university education space, roughly, at least globally, I don't have the exact numbers for Africa, but I think it's more or less a similar setup. 70% of all students study at public universities. So it is still the big part of higher education across the world. And hence, also being able to partner with these institutions is something that I think is key if one really wants to somehow game change this sector and contributes to better outcome across, in the end, globe and Africa.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. Like you said, the models of old are not going to be able to deal with the scale of the future, definitely. And partnering up is not necessarily new, because universities have been partnering for a long time, but not so much on deep into the curriculum. And so I'm interested, just before we jump out of Africa and talk more broadly about the model, what sort of programs, courses, disciplines, areas is everybody interested in? Where's the demand coming from in that space?
So it is to some extent regional. However, we see the biggest demand in all the kind of tech and digital programs that we have particularly invested and built up. So what I mentioned, AI, but also software engineering, digital innovation, and product management, data science, the kind of all the future skills, AI and tech-driven topics that are actually not that easy to find faculty who can teach it in a way, given that those fields change so fast. So AI and NLP is changing more or less, not only by the year, but by the day. That makes it really challenging to build an online model that is up to the current level of expertise. And I think it is just a waste of resources if every institution would do it. And hence we can leverage our scale, being the largest university in Germany, and all the breadth that we have with our over 100,000 students to shoulder in the end also the relevant costs, but also have the access to faculty that can do it. And when you look from a student perspective, even more so than in mature markets, in Africa, but also parts of Asia, there is a significant higher demand for these kind of forward-looking degrees. There is obviously also big demand for very traditional more traditional roles, I don't know, teaching, healthcare. There is, given the growth and the demand in these sectors, that is also something. We serve these markets in our Central European setup. It's just more challenging to serve regulated degrees across the globe, given that you have to meet all the regulations that you find in each country. And unfortunately, they're only a little bit different, but they're always so much different that it is not easy to provide an offering there.
I see.
That we have our vision that we have, meaning to democratize also these kind of education. We hope to find models that this is also feasible, but currently the big demand is in the wider tech arena.
And also in the full degree stack, or are you providing and supporting with components that they build together into their degrees?
So our whole portfolio is built in a stackable fashion, so people can in principle also do micro credentials, add them up together, or don't add them up together, but in principle these are built to be taken in a stepwise fashion. We currently see still the biggest interest and demand not in the micro credential space, but still in the university degree space. Might also be, there's already so much offering in this micro credential space that particularly in regions where affordability plays a big role, there's so much that is in the end for free. I don't know, if you just YouTube or other MOOCs, that it is difficult to find a good business model. We wouldn't be it, but any kind of, we see this with our partners struggling to find good business models in these non-degree arenas in these places.
Right. And so, IU is a university. It's a traditional university and also an innovative university. You've sort of got both arms to it. And it's unusual for a university to identify its strengths and then sort of separate off spin out a whole new business to service others, which is wonderful. It's a sort of wonderful for other universities. Typically we've seen in the last, 5 years, I guess, really massive growth in the universities partnering with others, boot camps, OPMs, and so even the evolution of these types of models, because now universities themselves are identifying their own capabilities, spinning some of those things out for commercial purposes in terms of supporting other universities. So that means to some extent you're also, or parts of your operation are acting like an OPM, I guess, right?
Yeah, to some extent, yes. However, it is indeed, as you said, an interesting development of this very complex ecosystem in space, which partner is doing what. And I think we have kind of a non-traditional angle upon it. There's, however, just to look a little bit further back in history, there's a precursor. When you think of the Open University, the UK Open University, that has always also meant to make education accessible across the globe. So to some extent, I guess we're a bit inspired by it. They have a different business model. They're also still focusing on the UK market, given how they are set up and financed. But I think building the capabilities as a university and then offering it to other universities is something that we see makes many things accessible that otherwise are more challenging by non-university partners. And for us, it's much easier to talk to universities, given that we're a university itself, and partnering with universities when you have this mindset of, no, we are not competitors, but this world is so big, and every institution is so small. When you think of these 225 million students across the globe, and we're not talking per thousands, we are talking per 10,000, so per million parts of this market share, more or less for all institutions. And hence, there is so much space to collaborate between universities. And that is, in the end, what led us to what we did, and the big advantage, I think, is that it is easier for a university fully understand, own, and then deliver the full value chain of university education. And I think the big difference to traditional OPMs is we try to bring around our capabilities, but we do so always with scale in mind. No? So we try to do so not reinventing the wheel when we do marketing 101 again anew. There is not so much value added for the student in the end, and then for everybody, if everything is done bespoke. But we believe there is the university education is to a large degree educating for the same labor market. And when we talk about tech, it is the same labor market, more or less. And hence what the capabilities that you build as well as the content that you provide is very similar. And you can try to work towards the best model. And with all the investments that we have, it is possible to do so. And the good thing is that most universities we partner with, at least, realize, yes, it doesn't really make sense to reinvent everything again, but use the capabilities that exist, add your own strength to it, and thereby provide more affordable education at higher quality for more students.
Yeah. Sven, it's been wonderful. Thank you so much for that overview. Really interesting, and I love to see universities sort of working together and building their own future. I mean, that's really, really great to see. Thank you so much, and it's been a pleasure. And I know that the audience will be also thinking the same thing, and we look forward to catching up with you soon.
Thank you. Thanks, Maria.
Thanks, Sven.
Cheers.
Bye-bye. Bye.